let's kick off our opening drive, brought to you by Chevy. The Bears offseason rolls right along. Players return to Halas Hall, their second session of OTAs this week. Ben Johnson pleased with how last week's practices went, and he noted the familiarity of the players returning from last year's team has helped the Bears hit the ground running this time around. Clay, you and I are going to be out there tomorrow for the media session, the practice that'll be open to the media. Who are you most looking forward to seeing in person? Look at this smirk on his face. You're going to see it here in a second.
David Haugh, who am I looking forward to seeing?
Oh, the tight ends.
The tight ends.
Third
you know,
tight
we
end,
just
probably.
drafted another tight end, Sam Roush. We got Cole Kmet, but most of all, Colson Loveland. Want to see all of them. Colson Loveland didn't have an offseason last year. He ended up being one of the best tight ends in the second half of the season. Now he got a full offseason in the weight room, not coming off of shoulder surgery. I want to see what this guy's ceiling really can be. When I watch him, I've seen a lot of tight ends. I know what a good tight end looks like. Second half of the season, when he had 47 catches for 600 yards and 6 touchdowns from week 9 on, he looked like he could be the 𝑛umber 1 tight end in the NFL. I want to see if that is realistic when I go and watch him on the grass tomorrow.
How about you?
I am very much looking forward to seeing Luther Burden.
Buying the stock?
Ben Johnson's buying the stock. There's no reason for me not to, but I would like to lay my eyes on him as well. I think there's an opportunity for Luther Burden to be wide receiver 1 this year.
Those are great answers, and I agree with you. I think he's going to be the top receiver. I'm also, if I were going up and throughout the course of OTAs and training camp, this sounds odd. I would like to see Ben Johnson and his staff coach, because I want to see how these practices come together, the intensity that makes such a difference. 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗹 kind of talked about this morning on the 𝗵𝗠cy Haugh show, and it got me thinking about the biggest difference on the Bears. Yes, you got the quarterback. Everybody loves that. Yes, you've got talented players. The roster's improved. It's about the coaching. It's about the head coach. And when you hear somebody like 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗹 talk about, in glowing terms, the way Ben Johnson's intensity and organization and structure leads to so much success, that's what I would want to see up close and personal.
That is a perfect segue into our second down. Let's take a listen to what 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗹 had to say on the 𝗵𝗠cy Haugh show this morning.
The practice that I witnessed, nothing schematically we'll talk about, but like the organization, the detail, the communication. I always say the greatest thing you can bring to an organization is communication and consistency. And what I saw, witnessed, in my opinion, 18 years ago in NFL camps, Ben is just on top of everything. Everybody in that building speaks his language. The way he handles and organizes everything, and you know, Poles came up to us right away, opened his arms up for us. Like, I just think those things come back to you tenfold.
Clay, you've played for a number of Hall of Fame head coaches in the NFL. Who was the best at establishing a sound culture when you were playing in the league?
So when I hear culture gets thrown around a lot. Let's just call it what it is. It's called a standard. You know, what's the standard? What's the culture is the standard. It's accountability. Are you taking accountability, or do you just want your players to take accountability? It's the huddle. If the huddle's not right, are the players getting back in the huddle and you're making them doing right, or are you letting that go? It's not some T-shirt. It's not some slogan, hits, we're going to hustle, intensity, tackling, whatever else there was. It's about the day-to-day when no one's watching, setting that standard. That's what culture is. And Ben Johnson's done a great job. And for me in my career, the Bill Belichick dynasty Patriots set the standard. There was so much accountability. Andy Reid, great.
Sean Payton,
different type of cultures. Andy Reid was more of a relationships guy. He trusted his guys. He's got to know you. He told you what the standard was. The Patriots was they let you know, if you miss this, we're on a train. Bill Belichick's a conductor. If you can't get on this train, you're getting left behind.
But I think all the guys you mentioned, and I think this is true with Ben Johnson and the great coaches, whether it's Sean McVay and the current edition of Kyle Shanahan, they are authentic. They're themselves. That's their personality. Yeah. And different ways to set that standard high and to meet it every day. And I think Ben Johnson is a guy that doesn't have the profile, doesn't have the personality to mix and mingle with other coaches, isn't going to be the guy who matters to. And I think when you talk about the standard and things that stand out to coaches like 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗹, I think is that this is who he is. And even if it's the most intense guy in the room, he's not afraid to be that guy.
You know, it's interesting because I think about culture and what's important to a coaching staff. And you go back to what I know you guys talked about. Dan Campbell said this is a pajama party. I don't get the sense that there's anything light happening for the Bears this time of year. I think everything matters. And when you look at the directions, right, of those two franchises, and not to compare and contrast necessarily to what Dan Campbell's doing in Detroit, because a lot of people have a lot of respect for what he's done there. But I think with Ben Johnson, when you look at what he's doing, everything is really important right now for him, for his coaching staff, for the details. Everything is just making sure you're dotting your T's, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, making sure that everything is taken seriously, but you're also, you know that that's who he is as a person, and you're not performative for anything.
Did not performative. He coaches everybody the same too. He's hard on Caleb Williams. When Tom Brady was making a mistake in practice, some coaches might say, okay, this guy's won 2 Super Bowls. He's been an MVP 3 times. We'll let this slide. No, Bill Belichick's coaching you. He's letting you know what you're doing in front of the whole team.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson is the same way, and he holds himself to that standard. So for players, they can see through a facade. If a guy doesn't take accountability, Ben Johnson is who he says he is, and that's why his culture sticks so well.
It's how you gain respect.
Yes.
And keep it.
Yes. All right, let's check in on another team in the NFC North, in the Minnesota Vikings, because there's a little bit of a quarterback battle happening in Minnesota.
That roster needs to win now. So no one's on scholarship anymore. His draft status doesn't matter. And it's whoever is the best player for us to win right now is who Kevin O'Connell is going to pick. That's going to be Kevin O'Connell's mindset in picking his quarterback now. So it's different than it was last year. They're not worried about the first round investment in the player anymore. In fact, the GM who drafted J.J. McCarthy, 10th overall, is now gone, and there's a new GM coming in. And so it's a really interesting situation.
So we're entering year 3 of J.J. McCarthy's career, but the Vikings don't sound awfully attached. It doesn't help that Minnesota's new general manager, Nolan Teasley, wasn't the one to select the former 10th overall pick. ESPN reporter for the Vikings, 𝗏𝗏 described the quarterback competition between Kyler Murray and McCarthy as, quote, not close, after watching them both practice last week. It's year 3 for J.J. McCarthy, but remember, his rookie season doesn't really count because he was injured, but in some people's minds, maybe that does count. Is it possible, guys, that the J.J. McCarthy era could be closer to the end than we may think?
Not only possible, it's likely. When you have a new general manager and he takes a good, fresh set of eyes and he looks at the situation, let's likely to happen in Minnesota this year. Kyler Murray's going to get the bulk of the snaps. Kyler Murray's likely going to be the starter. J.J. McCarthy's not going to get a chance to prove himself to the new guy. The new guy's going to see this contract. They're going to have to make a decision on the option and all of these things that are the realities of being a franchise quarterback, or you would be franchise quarterback. So I do think probably, likely, J.J. McCarthy's last year could be beginning in Minnesota.
I think you're right. I think there's no connection between JJ and obviously this new GM. So that's tough for JJ. But let's not declare this thing over in the beginning OTAs. JJ did finish strong. He was 4-0 in his last 4 games. He had a 65 completion percentage in his last 4 games, 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 receptions. So he got a lot better. So if he can continue that trajectory, he's not going to look good as a 29-year-old quarterback that's played 7 years. Obviously, he's 23. He's played 2, was injured 1 of them. So I wouldn't declare it over now, but I'm with you. It's trending towards Kyler Murray's team, but this is a top 10 pick, and I think there's still a possibility.
You sound like an analyst, and you're a good one. But put yourself in the shoes of being a veteran in that locker room.
Yeah.
You see Kyler Murray throwing the ball around like a guy who has his credentials. What do you think is happening
Justin
next?
Jefferson, Jordan Addison,
Right.
TJ Hawkinson.
Who do you think those guys
ready.
want taking the snaps?
They want a guy that's ready right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's interesting, guys, because you think about, okay, well, maybe he could go revitalize his career somewhere else. Someone else could take a shot on him. Usually that's with Kevin O'Connell. So he's there with the guy that maybe could fix him. I ask you this really quickly. Which quarterback has more trade value right now? J.J. McCarthy or Tyson Bagent? Quick answer.
Tyson Bagent.
I would say if I'm looking for a backup to start on Sunday, Tyson Bagent. Trade value, I'm going with J.J. McCarthy, the pedigree, top 10 pick.
Good distinction.
That's my thoughts.
All right, let's go to our 4th down of this opening drive. Let's check in from Senator Bill Cunningham.
Working with the Bears has been frustrating from the beginning. As you mentioned, they've pivoted between various plans back and forth between Arlington Heights and the lakefront. And that shifting continued right up until this spring, when they were publicly saying there was a binary choice between Arlington Heights and Hammond, while they were conducting, let's call them back-channel discussions with the city of Chicago. Those discussions completely undermined their efforts in Springfield during the legislative session.
Really strong words there from Senator Cunningham on the Mully and Haugh show this morning. How much of the problem, David, has been just the Bears getting in their own way?
Everybody deserves a share of the responsibility and blame and culpability in this. But what you heard this morning from Senator Cunningham was the most damning and revealing, I think, assessment of what has gone on as it pertains to the Bears. The Bears have a credibility problem right now, and they need to address this quickly. And they don't need to address this quickly in terms of what direction do they go. They need to decide how they're going to handle it at all, how they're going to address this, because they could go to Indiana, and they're all ready for them in Hammond. But the fact that they're waiting this long to maybe make that determination tells you that that isn't what they want to do. If it's not what they want to do, that's fine. You're making a 40-year decision, not a 4-year decision, not a 4-month decision. So take a step back, take a deep breath, reassess, maybe put people in leadership positions that you trust or have the trust of other people that you're dealing with. Right now, Kevin Warren has a credibility issue. George McCaskey probably does as well. They need to figure out how to fix this problem that they have created for themselves.
The article I was just reading in the Chicago Tribune that came out at 8 o'clock last night, I think it said something that's very telling. It says negotiators pointed out there was a factionalized Bears leadership structure that was naive to the political game and kept undercutting the political process. They need to get on the same team.
Yeah.
And firstly, they need to stop dating 3 girls at the same time and pick a lane. Pick a wife here. Figure out what you want to do. This is what we want to do. Let's figure this out. Don't say you're going with Arlington Heights and Hammond and be going for a wedding and texting your ex-girlfriend on the side, Chicago, and now Chicago thinks they still got a chance. So now they're messing up everything that you got going with Hammond and Arlington Heights. So you got to figure out, you got to pick a lane, and I think it's been messy.
Your indecision led to interference.
Yes.
And both of them were unnecessary.
Fantasy suites are over. Time to make your decision.
Absolutely. Bachelor
they do.
reference for those that don't know.